Hi, welcome to A Word With. I'm Katie Byrd, professor of percussion at West Georgia, and my guests today are Alan Richardson and Becky Anderson. So welcome, guys. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Alan and Becky just completed their residency with the Newnan Art-Res program. So I'm wondering, guys, if you could just tell us, like, very briefly, what you do, who you are, and maybe talk a little bit about the residency.
We are concertizing musicians who have been a little bit nomadic during this last year with the pandemic. We came down to Newnan for the month of January in between two teaching positions that Becky was doing, one at SUNY Potsdam in fall of 2020 and now at Cornell University. So we thought we would take our nice month between semesters to go get some good weather and some some nice community time in Newnan. Yeah, I have some connections to Newnan as the co-artistic director of the Charles Wadsworth piano competition there. So I was familiar with the area and familiar with the residency, the art res, and we decided to take some time and go spend some time in Newnan.
So let's talk about a couple of the pieces. We're going to show a couple of clips, just little short snippets here. The first piece I want to talk about is called Talking Circles by Robert Honstein, correct?
Nailed it.
Good. All right, I'm going to just read through the program notes for this piece. Okay, it was originally written in 2014 for violin and viola. The composer arranged it for violin and cello. He says, duets are always a type of conversation. Talking in circles is a conversation that becomes an argument. Two characters are in a dialogue, talking but not agreeing. They repeat arguments, making the same points in different ways. There's progress, but ultimately the conversation goes nowhere. The first and second movements I especially like. The first movement is very like you said, out rhythmic, and there's all this pizzicato and give and take between the two performers. And then the second movement sounds so starkly different to me. Like it was haunting almost and very lyrical. I'm wondering if you could talk about the piece overall and then just some challenges maybe about playing something that's that different.
We were first introduced to this piece a few years ago, actually. Rob is a friend of both of ours through various schools and professional activities. And years ago, actually, we'd talked with him and he mentioned that he had written this duo for violin and viola and was interested in arranging it also for violin and cello. And at the time, we were trying to perform more together, but as Alan said earlier, having a hard time actually finding the time. So Rob sent us this music, the score for the violin and cello part, and it sat in our inbox for 3 or 4 years. And then finally, at the beginning of the pandemic, as we were trying to find new violin and cello rep, we remembered this piece.
I think there's something actually really kind of larger in sort of the sound world and the scope of the piece. I think a lot of the times for duets, there's a certain kind of intimacy to it and often, a lot of the music that we've been playing and learning, it's almost like miniatures. And while this Rob's piece isn't massive in length, it's really quite substantial in just sort of musical content. It's just a lot of sound, a lot of notes, and I think a lot of really, substance to the content and the premise of the piece as well.
Okay, let's move on. I also want to talk about the Timothy Mathe piece, Little Bird Variations. And all I knew about this before I opened it up to listen to was that it had been composed for a wedding. And then when I listened to it, I thought, well, this is a lot more substantial and deep than, I don't mean to like put a negative connotation on wedding music, but it was a lot, there's a lot more to it than I was sort of expecting. So can you tell us about that piece?
Yeah, absolutely. So Tim is a really dear friend of both of ours, and his wife, Caitlin Lynch, is the violist in my string quartet, the Aeolus Quartet, and Tim is also a violist. I believe they had some friends getting married in 2011. And they asked Tim and Caitlin if they would play for the wedding. So there aren't a whole lot of viola duets, and Tim happens to be a phenomenal composer. So he wrote this just incredibly personal, really just lovely and heartwarming work that I think, I can totally imagine it being played outdoors at a nice wedding. It also has this this quality to it, a kind of meditative quality that I think is really fitting for a concert hall as well. And it's something that, again, it's another piece we learned very early on in the pandemic, and we're just immediately in love with and really grateful to have in our repertoire.
There's something so wonderful both with Tim's piece and with Rob's piece of playing works written by someone that you know, and that you know very personally. It's just such a we're so grateful to be able to play these great pieces. They're standalone pieces, but also just to know the person behind the notes.
Well, guys, thank you so much for talking to me about it. And thank you so much for the gorgeous concert. Like, I, excuse me, really commend you for finding the silver linings and, making the repertoire work and making the rehearsal time work and making the recording work. So thanks for giving that to us. And I'm sure people will enjoy the concert. And thanks again for your contributions to students at UWG last week. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Katie.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right, guys. All the best. Take care.
All right.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Take care.
Take care, Katie.